Welcome back, brothers and sisters. Braden, Tim, Second Legacy, you are amazing. And today we are going to take our magical recipe of humor and sarcasm and apply it to none other than the court system, the Eighth Circuit Court, where they talked about the SAPA being a bad thing. Oh, guys, the Second Amendment protection area, it's back on the docket. And we've got to walk you through what this most recent court just said. I can't wait to hear what you guys think. But I hope you're enjoying. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. Tim, Missouri, we're heading close to your neck of the woods. Not quite, but close.
Yeah, well, I did live in Missouri for a while.
So there you go. You get credit.
My younger years during the Civil War.
Oh, it was a good time then.
Yeah.
A good time. Well,
Missouri was knocked out of the fight early on, and just a bunch of border raiding.
You hate to see it. Little Jesse James action.
Contrails Raiders and Kansas Red Legs. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
Little crazy history. Anyway.
That's great history, but you know what? There's new crazy history. We got more. Because you remember SAPA, right? The Second Amendment protection area? Remember that whole little debacle?
Great name.
Oh, fantastic name. And the thing that I love about it is they kind of stuck their finger right in the eye of the whole immigration sanctuary cities thing. They said, hey, if you can do it with illegal status, then we can do it with guns. And for some reason, Tim, it's the weirdest thing. The federal court system had a big problem with the gun one, but really didn't have a problem with the immigration one. Isn't that weird?
It's always that inconsistency. As I've said many times before, the courts tend to treat firearms and firearms issues quite differently than the rest of the stuff that they hear.
Yeah. That's weird. Let me just walk you through this one. You're going to love every second of it. And by the way, when I say you're going to love it, your head's going to explode because the reasoning of which they said the SAPA gets to continue to be blocked is an interesting little chestnut, if you will. So first off, I think we put some credit where credit's due. We do an FPC tweet here. This is what they announced. The Eighth Circuit today upheld the ruling that struck down Missouri's Second Amendment Preservation Act, saying that states are allowed to stop using their resources to assist with enforcing federal laws, but not for the reasons Missouri stated. Now, that one piqued my interest a little bit, Tim, because they basically said that, wait, you can do this, but you can't.
Yeah.
Right? You caught that too, right?
Yeah.
Maybe there's something deeper.
See, that's the thing that I've always wondered. It's like, how can the federal government force states to spend money to assist them in their job?
Well, you are going to love every second of this because, boy, do I have an answer for you, Tim. So FPC, in their amazing referencing, they put a little snippet of the actual decision, and I've got the whole decision too, but this is the piece you really need to know, all right? So I'm going to walk you through this and listen to what they said in this decision. Second, Missouri contends that the act is constitutional because the state may constitutionally withdraw the authority of state officers to enforce federal law. The state argues that the reason why it withdrew its authority, because the state declared federal law invalid, is immaterial. Now, that's going to come back in a second. Let me read this next paragraph. That Missouri may lawfully withhold its assistance from federal law enforcement, however, does not mean that the state may do so by purporting to invalidate federal law. In this context, as in others, the Constitution is concerned with means as well as ends. So that's another important piece, how you do it versus what you did. Missouri has the power to withhold state assistance, but the means it uses to achieve its ends must be consistent with the letter and spirit of the Constitution. Missouri's assertion that federal laws regulating firearms are invalid to the state is inconsistent with both. And the payoff: if the state prefers as a matter of policy to discontinue assistance with the enforcement of valid federal firearms laws, then it may do so by other means that are lawful and assume political accountability for that decision. You know what that means?
Well, it's just more of the, you can, but you can't. So all they have to do is basically rephrase their law.
Yes.
Because
all they have to do is say, no, it's a valid law. We're just not listening to it.
Yeah. We just choose not to help. I mean, but because they went so far as to say we don't agree with the law, and we seek to invalidate it in the state of Missouri. Well, you can't do that.
Oh, you can't do that.
Don't tell us the truth.
Right. You
just lie to us a little bit.
We can't enforce it?
Yeah.
No. You can't enforce it because you said it was an invalidated law. It was invalid. But if you go back and you reassert the language and say it's valid,
we're just not going to enforce it.
Just take a middle finger. We're just not gonna. Then we're perfectly fine, Tim. It's not an idea that you can't do this. It's the idea of you got to say it right while you do it.
Yeah.
God in heaven, bro. Like,
that is the corniest decision I've ever heard. It's like, you can do what you want here, Missouri. Just don't tell us the truth about your intent.
All they have to do is go to the legislature and go, you know what? They're right. It's not an invalid law. It's a valid law. Still screw you. And the court goes, I'm satisfied. Who else is good?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's just
Uh,
the level of stupid. The level of stupid on this. And I don't really blame the judge really that much because quite honestly, they're just following the Constitution. Constitution says you can't say it's invalid. Say it's valid and you're okay. Like there's some guys in Missouri who are like, so just say the word valid, that's it? I mean, like, you want it by tomorrow or?
That reminds me of the whole Obamacare thing.
Does it?
Remember when it went to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court said, the Supreme Court said, no, you can't really do that. But hey, side note, if you levy a tax, you have that power. Well, then it can go forward under that scheme. It's not constitutional, but we got a suggestion for you over here. It's like,
our country at work, beautiful people. Yeah, Tim, that was a great example. You remember, actually, let's go back in our little time machines in our brains, because I remember this very vividly. I remember when the Senate Majority Leader, the Democrat, Harry Reid, was pushing through Obamacare, and they used reconciliation to get it through because they didn't have the majority, so they didn't want to go through the filibuster. So they made it a actual budgetary item, which a lot of people are afraid they're going to do with guns, which, by the way, they cannot do. Just letting you know, that cannot do it. But because it was involved with Medicare and healthcare, they moved it through reconciliation. And then the big argument, I remember, Tim, very vividly, the big argument was that it's not a tax. That's so mean. No one likes taxes. We would never pass another tax. And then they passed it, and they got sued, and it went all the way to the SCOTUS. And then the big solve, to your point, was just call it a tax. Guys, of course it's a tax. What? Yeah. I mean, like, we're so good. I swear, our government.
I know. Oh, and then the little cherry on top of that fiasco of our corrupt ass government, the little cherry on top was all the senators, not all of them, but many of the Congress critters that did this 11th hour vote in the middle of the night thing to sneak Obamacare across the finish line. They exempted themselves and their staffers from Obamacare.
Because you got to.
And big donors like Walmart.
You got to, though. I mean, that's just amazing, right? Because who doesn't love special treatment and philandering of our Constitution?
And yet people still vote for these idiots.
Well, you know what? You got to do what you got to do, right? You know, like, whatever. All right. So I want to lay something out on a war board for you, Tim.
Okay.
I think this is very, very good to look at. So what I'm showing the people right now is number 3. And the reason that I want to show them this is who's fighting on the side of the SAPA or on the side of the Second Amendment. And I want to really show the Civil War sides of the battle we're lining up here. So again, this is a government versus government fight, right? This is Missouri versus the United States. Well, look who got involved. On the Missouri side, you have the Attorney General of Missouri, of course. You have Missouri Firearms Coalition, America's Firearms Association, Iowa gun owners, Ohio gun owners, Minnesota gun rights, Georgia gun owners, Wyoming gun owners. Underneath that, you have the Amici Curiae briefs that are added in. Gun Owners of America, Gun Owners Foundation, Gun Owners of California, Heller Foundation, America's Future, Downsize DC Foundation, Conservative Legal Defense, Education Fund, Virginia Delegate, and Freedom Center of Missouri. So all of the pro-gun sides line up on our side. Like literally, we're lining up a Civil War musket line right now. Then if you look at number 4, look who stood against. And this was on the federal government side. Brady's Center to Prevent Gun Violence, Everytown for Gun Safety, March for Our Lives, Giffords Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence, Missouri Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence, Jackson County, Missouri, St. Louis County, Missouri. You tell me this is a battle between a state and a federal government. No, this is literally a special interest on both sides are utilizing the state vehicles to fight each other.
Yeah. Yep.
I just think it's interesting. I think that's really fascinating.
I think it's wild how how the federal government always sides with organizations that want to shred the Bill of Rights. Shouldn't the federal government have a vested interest in protecting the Bill of Rights?
You'd think. You would think.
Why do they always side with these wild groups like the Brady Bunch and Giffords? Yeah. These are radical anti-gunners that literally want the complete Second Amendment just stricken from the document. And the government always sides with them. How ironic.
Oh, the irony. Well, now we're going to play a little game, Tim, just in case anybody waiting at home wasn't sure what the SAPA was going to do. I'm going to go through 1 through 5 here, and you just tell me on a scale of like to love how you feel about these bullet points, okay?
Okay.
So this is number 1. This is what the state or the law would actually invalidate. Any tax, levy, fee, or stamp imposed on firearms, firearms accessories, or ammunition not common to all other goods and services that might reasonably be expected to create a chilling effect on the purchase or ownership of those items by law-abiding citizens.
Yep, I agree with that 100% because I have said all along that it is not constitutional to tax a right, and the Supreme Court has made that decision in other cases, just unrelated to firearms, going back to what I said earlier in the video, that they treat firearms differently.
100%. You are correct. So that was number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, any registration or tracking of firearms, firearm accessories, or ammunition.
They don't want that. They're banning it.
Well, right,
agree with that 100%.
Everything here is what they're banning in this. Everything. This is all a.
This is what Missouri is trying to do.
Yes, this is what Missouri is trying to do. Yeah.
Okay.
Number 3, any registration or tracking of the ownership of firearms, firearm accessories, or ammunition.
Banned, blocked. Love that one. Yeah.
Right. Number 4, any act forbidding the possession, ownership, use, or transfer of a firearm, firearm accessory, or ammunition by law-abiding citizens.
Yep.
Sounds pretty good, right? And then number 5, any act ordering the confiscation of firearms, firearm accessories, or ammunition from law-abiding citizens.
Yeah, love that one too.
Go team. So what we're looking at right here is the list I just showed you. That's what it was going to do, Tim. It was going to block all of those things from happening. And the federal government is going, no, 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 you can't do that. What's that tell somebody somewhere? Think. If I was Winnie the Pooh right now, I'd be like, think.
Are you
it means that's what they want to do.
Oh, yeah.
No, I was just saying in general, not you. I knew you knew the answer. You're a genius.
But, yeah. Of course the feds don't like this. But the irony of it, look, I've said this many times before, too. The federal government wants to force the states into doing their dirty work because the federal government doesn't have the resources and manpower to enforce this in all 50 states. Yep. So they lean on these states to spend their time and resources to assist the feds in stripping you of your rights. And when the state stands up and says, no, we're not helping with that one. Apparently, according to the courts, they can go ahead with that line of thinking and stop right there. But the minute they say, because we don't agree with the law, nope, now, sorry, now you got to help us.
Dude, I'm going to be honest. I'm still stuck. I'm like a Band-Aid. I'm stuck on this idea that as long as you call it a totally valuable and totally okay valid act, then you could ignore it. But if you call it an invalid act, then you can't ignore it. Like,
as long as you lie to us, we're okay with it.
What? Like, is this what we've been doing wrong all these years? Because, I mean, is this what the left has been doing in all their sanctuary cities? They've clearly been violating the federal laws, but because they said it was valid, they're just not going to listen to it. That is perfectly fine. But over here on the Second Amendment, it's like, guys, this is completely invalid, so we're going to do this. And the court's like, what did you call it?
Well, got to rein this in. Yeah.
You can't call it that. So not only is that stupid, they've also given us the playbook to where we can do this in every other red state. Hey, guys. Governor, AG of all these different states. All you got to do, I got the cheat sheet. You just got to call it a valid act, and then you just ignore it. That's it.
Cool. We love this law. It's a great law. It's a good law.
It's the greatest law you've ever seen.
Yeah, it's the greatest law in history.
My gosh.
We're just not going to help you with it.
That's all you got to do? Yeah. Damn, I thought it was going to be harder than that. All right.
Thanks for the tip. Yeah. And just the tip. Yeah.
I was good. Dude, I had coffee in my mouth. I was going to say it. Damn it. All right. Get us out of here, you troublemaker.
Oh, is that it? All right. Do you want to take a sip of coffee while I take us out so you don't interrupt my outro? Okay, anyway. All right, folks. Thanks for watching Second Legacy. We'll talk to you guys soon.